without music. War Stories Radio's life and we're moving. Moody without music, Moody without music. War Stories Radio, so let's do this. Let's go. The Moody without music stream on War Stories Radio. It's your boy IBJ.
I got that big pimpin' spinning the cheese. I got big pimpin' spinning the cheese. I got big pimpin' spinning the cheese. I got this is pimp talk. I got that pimp walk.
Jawel, jawel. Het is vrijdagavond, 10 uur in Nederland. Dat betekent dat het 4 uur in de middag is in Amerika. En het is tijd voor een nieuwe aflevering van de Moody Without Music stream hier op War Stories Radio Live. Het station waar je liefde geeft en je liefde krijgt. Dus vandaag seizoen 2, aflevering 7. En over iets minder dan een half uurtje hebben we niemand minder. En ik vind het echt een eer dan Cherelle, die bij ons langskomt om te praten over haar journey, haar avontuur als muzikant. En we gaan het ook hebben over haar gloednieuwe album of project genaamd Hi Cherelle. Dus ben je benieuwd waar het over gaat, wie het is? Mocht je Cherelle nog niet kennen, blijf dan vooral luisteren. En mocht je kijken, in dit geval naar YouTube of in ieder geval de visuele versie van deze aflevering, dankjewel voor het kijken. Vergeet niet te liken, subscriben, commenten, delen, you know what's up. En met dat gezegd hebben, denk dat het tijd is om te gaan kijken welke track we als eerst hebben gespeeld en welke tracks eraan zitten te komen. We begonnen vandaag met Desi Storm en Big Pimpin'. Desi Storm is een van de artiesten die was aangeraden door onze gast van vandaag. En zo zullen er nog zeker 4 of 5 andere artiesten volgen. Deze artiesten zijn aangevuld met dope artiesten vanuit Amerika, Nederland en Engeland. En dat is een beetje wat je te wachten staat voor vanavond. Desi Storm was dus de eerste. Nadat ik stop met praten, na de intro heb gedaan, ook in de Engelse versie, gaan we luisteren naar Leroy uit Amsterdam. Shout out to you broski. Met Geen Wedstrijd, de remix Black Lives Matter. Daarna hebben we Harry Femer met King Kong. Gevolgd door Scare and Boos en Scuff met Beaver over Niks. En daarna gaan we naar de UK met CK, de Come Up 2. Na deze banger nog meer bangers, welke komen als aanrader van ons gast van vandaag. En met dat gezegd hebben, ga ik hetzelfde doen in Engels. En zie ik je weer zo meteen. Yes sir. Good afternoon. It's your boy IBJ. And you're listening to the Moody Without Music stream here on War Stories Radio Live. The station where you show love, you get love. It's today season 2 episode 7, and later today in I think about 20-25 minutes we have none other, and I really feel honored that she's coming by to talk with us, or talk with me, also with you. But yeah, Cherelle, I haven't known her music for quite a long time, but ever since I came across her music, I've been sold. I think I've heard 2 entire projects so far, and it's not fanboying or whatever. I didn't hear one single bad song. So with that being said, if you're curious about that, stay tuned, because like I said, in about 20-25 minutes we will have our first segment of the conversation with this very dope and, in my opinion, underrated artist who goes by the name of Cherelle. But before it's that time, let's see what songs we're gonna play and have in store. We started off with Desi Storm with Big Pimpin'. Desi Storm is one of the artists who got how do you say that? You know, English is my second language, but yeah. We got hooked up by our guest of today, Desi Storm. And besides Desi, we will have a handful of other artists who got recommended, that's the word I was looking for, by today's guest. So I have to say, we have a banger of a show, but it's my show, so it has to be, right? But yeah, also music wise, it's gonna be a great show with a great guest, so make sure to stay tuned, because after I quit talking and shut my mouth, we're gonna listen to 3 Dutch artists, or 3 Dutch songs, multiple artists, and one is from Belgium, by the way. The first up is Leroy, shout out to you. Geen wedstrijd, no competition, the remix, Black Lives Matters. After that we have Harry Femur with King Kong. And then we have Skate and Bows featuring Scuff on Beefin' Over Nothing. After that we're gonna go to the UK with CK, the Come Up 2. And after that, more recommendations from today's guest. First up is Jeb Kelly with Wonderland. After that we have Else, the freestyle. With that being said, I think it's time to close down this introduction and go to the music. Like I said, banger after banger. Starting out with 3 songs from the Netherlands, or 2.5 because one is from Belgium, to be honest. And the first one is Leroy, Geuzenveld, Amsterdam. Yes sir, my hometown. Shout out to you, home bro. We're gonna listen to your song, and after that, Harry Femur, King Kong. See you in a bit. Enjoy the music. Bang. It's your boy IBJ, Moody with a Music Stream, episode 7 on Warsaw Radio Live, the station where you show love, you get love.
Ben je willing om te sterven voor je doelen, of doe je het alleen zodat mensen je daar gaan voelen? Ik zie slangen met 2 gezichten, met messen in hun handen. Varkens patrouilleren met bloed ook op hun handen. Dus fuck die Piet Meurders, je strijdt voor een fictief persoon. Mannen switch je huidskleur als het gaat hier om een beetje brood. Ik leen wat lood, verdellen alle koenerie.
Oh, hell the queen. Yo, they always acting like it could only be one queen. Nah, baby. You know what I'm saying? We all out here on our own thrones, ruling in our own worlds. Don't ever let anybody tell you what you cannot do. You just laugh at them, you feel me? Remember, all hail the queen.
Jawel, en dat was alweer het eerste half uur van aflevering 7, seizoen nummer 2 van de Moody with a Music Stream hier op Warsaw Radio Live. Het station waar je liefde geeft en je liefde krijgt. Zoals je misschien al hebt meegekregen in de introductie, vandaag gaat het om Cherelle en in een aantal minuten gaan we haar erbij halen. Maar eerst is het tijd voor een snelle recap van de afgespeelde tracks. En vervolgens gaan we hetzelfde doen in het Engels. Daarna brengen we de gast van vandaag in, gevolgd door een aantal tracks, de 1 hour mark waarin ik een korte recap doe in Nederlands. En vervolgens gaan we het eerste uur herhalen in het tweede uur. En gaan we het tweede gedeelte van het gesprek houden met onze gast van vandaag. Dus stay tuned. Mocht je niet zo goed zijn in Engels, wil je weten wat er allemaal is gezegd. Ik ga het eerste gedeelte over een half uurtje vertalen. En het tweede gedeelte, of in principe het gehele gesprek, zal vertaald worden in de blogpost over dit interview met onze gast van vandaag, Cherelle. Maar zoals ik al zei, het is eerst tijd voor een snelle recap van de tracks die we hebben afgespeeld. We begonnen vandaag met Leroy, Geen Wedstrijd, de remix Black Lives Matter. Gevolgd door Harry Femur met King Kong. Daarna hadden we Skate and Bows samen met Scuff op Beefin' Over Niks. Gevolgd door CK uit de UK met The Come Up 2. En daarna hadden we wederom een recommendation of een aanbeveling van de gast van vandaag met Jack Kelly op Wonderland. En de track die daarna kwam was van Else en ook hij, of ELC, en ook hij is een aanrader van onze gast van vandaag. Kortom, alleen maar bangers. En de track heette, by the way, No Favors. En zoals ik al zei, na de recap, of tenminste na het Engelse gedeelte, hebben we onze gast. Daar hebben we, even kijken, 3 tracks in totaal, waaronder een track van onze gast. En daarna is het tijd voor de recap, waarin ik een klein gedeelte zal vertalen. Maar dat gezegd hebben, ik ga het nu in het Engels doen. Ik hoop dat je tot zover aan het bouncen bent van de tracks van vandaag. Voor de rest alles oké is, by the way. Niet vergeten, mocht je dit zien in een visuele format, like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever. En make sure dat je er morgen ook bij bent voor een nieuwe aflevering van Hoe de LK Presents. En volgende week natuurlijk weer een nieuwe aflevering van deze show. With that being said, that was already the first 30 minutes of the Moody with a Music Stream here on Warsaw Radio Live, the station where you show love, you get love. It's episode 7 of season 2, and tonight we're going to show some love towards a very talented and, in my opinion, underrated artist who goes by the name of Cherelle. In a couple of minutes, I will bring her in, and we're gonna talk about her journey. And later on, we will talk about her new project called Hi Cherelle, which dropped 2 months ago. Let me double check that. Yeah, May in May, so already 2 months ago. And with that being said, let's begin with a quick recap and then bring in today's guest. We started off today's or the last 30 minutes with three songs from the Netherlands, two and a half because one was from Belgium. The first one was from Leroy with No Competition, the remix Black Lives Matter, followed by Harry Femur, King Kong. Then we had a duo from Belgium and one from the Netherlands, Skate and Bows featuring Scuff on Beefin' Over Nicks. And then we went to the UK with CK with the Come Up 2, followed by two recommendations from today's guest. First up was Jack Skelly with Wonderland, and then we had Else with No Favors. But last but not least, we had the first introduction with today's guest for those who aren't familiar with her, um, with a song from her new project called Hi Cherelle, and a song which is actually the outro or the last song of the project is called All Hail to the Queen. And in my opinion, that is a um, suitable title for the song because she is going hard. And with that being said, I'm gonna try to call her in and see how she's doing. Hopefully she can hear me correctly. What up, sis? Can you hear me?
How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we already talked about to each other offline. Before we go into your new song, please introduce yourself for those who are living behind underneath a rock and aren't familiar with you.
Oh, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? My name is Cherelle. I'm hailing all the way from Harlem, New York. I'm a female MC. I have about 8 different projects out. The most recent being my EP, Hi Cherelle. Been on stages in Paris multiple times. Sway in the Morning, BET, open up for Jonah Lucas. A couple things. The list goes on. I just somebody that tries to stay as consistent as possible. That's always the goal. Yeah,
And you've
yeah.
been doing so for years now. And I have to say that's why I introduced you like the way I did. Um, People should know you by now, not only from your appearances on big shows and appearances for during performances, but also from your own music.
That's
You
true.
already mentioned you just brought out your eighth project. Before that,
Yeah.
you brought that makes seven. Before that, uh, um, underneath a trilogy called Real Hip Hop Still Exists. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, yes, definitely. I okay, so I used to sell CDs in Times Square in New York, and I would always ask people when I would first speak to them, do you love hip hop? And some people would say no, and some people would say hip hop doesn't exist anymore, and that used to make me feel crazy. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hip hop doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it kind of inspired that trilogy. One that I always felt like I would continue because there's some artists that have mixtapes like Wayne with the drought, like he has more than one drought, right?
Hmm.
For his mixtapes, like I always said, that's something I always continue to go back and add to because it's necessary for people to know that there are variations of hip hop that you know um, today.
So when did the first installment released or dropped?
The first real hip hop still exists came out in 2015.
Okay. And how
Yeah.
many songs did that contain for those who still have
Ah,
to
shit.
check your older
I
catalog? Yeah, well, I'm bringing it
I
back.
think
I'm
I
bringing
think
it
that
back,
I think
and
that
I'm
tape
starting
that
halfway
tape
of the list. So
no, that's cool. I think that tape had 18 songs. If I'm not mistaken, it had 18 songs on that project.
I think it did. I didn't entirely check that project. I went through it since I wasn't familiar with it as well. I've been living on the same rock, so for those who I'm allowed to say because I just came underneath it from underneath it. So yeah, so that was 2015. How long did it take for you to make the second one or drop the second one?
The second one came out the following year. Like it used to be a goal of mine all the time to come out with a different project every year. because I'm somebody who idolizes Jay-Z, and he's somebody who has always been consistent in that nature. Well, until as of late, because then he started having more distance between his projects. But initially, he was kind of somebody who was putting something out every summer. Um, a year later, I came out with Real Hip Hop Still Exists 2. That one didn't have as many songs. It was only maybe about 10 or so. The third one had about maybe 14, 13, 14 songs. But I think people's attention span changed over time. So I started to shorten my projects.
Okay. So have you been keeping that steady since you said you like to be yeah, steady and drop at least a project a year? Was All About One the year after?
Uh, yes. Okay. But in 27, okay. So my first project came out 2012. In 2017, I put out two projects. All About one that I collaborated on with different people. Um, and I featured on 7 songs on that project. That same year, I put out the Real Hip Hop Still Exists 3. And then 2018, I didn't put anything out because I had just did 2 albums. And 2019, I put out another album.
Which was Standing on My
Yes,
Words, right?
yes.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the one in my playlist tonight, but I had it, or I was listening to it yesterday, and it was all bangers. Let me start with that.
Okay, thank you.
But Dear Todd Pocket,
Oh,
I have
dear
a question
Thought
about
Pocket.
that.
You like that song? Or you don't like that song? Either.
I like it.
Okay.
It's a banger. But since we offline talked about it briefly,
Yeah, yeah.
this question popped up to mind.
Oh.
How you feel about OnlyFans, and how would you be cool with it if your significant other would have an account?
Yeah, that's not what. Because we had that
We go.
conversation like it depends because your OnlyFans pages vary. So what you do on your OnlyFans can be very different from what somebody else chooses to do because you get to cater to different people's fetishes. So there's like one girl I know that she was like some guy would ask her to like wet her arm hairs or some shit like that, and I was like,
What?
okay, like and like
Yeah.
some people have one that's just for like feet and shit like that. So it's just kind of like I don't know. It would depend on what the fuck they're doing. If they're like wilding and like sucking dick on their page every day, I'd be like, hell no. Like that's crazy. But if it's but yeah, I feel like that's not what I expected you to ask for. Yeah, yeah. I guess it depends on what is going on.
Sorry for throwing you under the bus like
No,
this,
no,
but
you good.
I saw a connection with that song, and after a conversation earlier, I was like, what? Wait, what? I have to write this down so I can remind myself, and I'm just gonna ask it and see how it goes. But so you will be cool with it as long as it would be nothing weird. Oh yeah, let's put
It
it like
can't be.
that.
It
Nothing
can't be
weird.
like too provocative. You know what I'm saying? Because I always feel like what's for me is supposed to be mine, like not for everybody else to see. Um, it'd be different if I had like maybe an open relationship, and then maybe I would feel like I can't really say, no, or it would just be weird if I'm okay with you sleeping with other people. Then how could I feel a way about you doing some shit like that? Like, but I
Yeah,
feel like I was raised a pretty private person, so I feel like to a degree there's certain things that I feel like only me and mine are supposed to know. You know.
true, true, true. Okay, so fast forward to your next project. What's noticed to me is that you slow down your flow, your tempo of the music. Has it a particular reason why you did that?
Yeah. I would perform and do shows, and I would feel like I would feel like yo, I just said some shit, and I wouldn't always get the reaction that I wanted. And some people would say, yo, I had to go back and listen to what you said like 2, 3 times before I would catch this bar. Like I didn't even know you said that, and I'm like, damn, I like that would make me feel crazy because there could be somebody on stage that it has way they're just way more simple in how they deliver shit, and
Mm.
they would get a bigger reaction, and it could be basic shit. Like their punchline is basic as shit. And I would just
Yeah.
be like, why is that?
Yours just went over
Why do
their
you
heads
care about
because they
that? Yeah,
actually had to
like
listen to
so
it.
people exactly made me feel like the shit I was saying was going over their heads, and it made me feel crazy because I was like, no, I can't have that. Like I need people to understand in order to be able to connect and have certain conversations. So I would try, and my all of my favorite rappers, to a degree, there's maybe two or three, but a lot of my favorite rappers, they kind of talk when they rhyme. They not like speeding through records, or their internal rhyme scheme isn't ridiculous. Like a Eminem, his internal rhyme scheme is
Yeah.
ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Yeah.
mastered it. And
You have to sit in
everybody,
a room quietly
yo,
to figure every
you
line
gotta
out.
listen to that man like intensely. You gotta be in that moment. And
Facts.
everybody doesn't listen at that speed, and that's something I had to learn. Like just I was like maybe because I'm a rapper, or maybe because I listen to I don't know what it is that makes it to where I'm cool listening to certain people, but I realized everybody doesn't listen the same way. So I needed to slow it down in order to be able to catch more ears.
Okay. We saw you doing so with one of the songs from that project,
Mhm.
um, which is actually the outro. All hail to the queen.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty self-explainable, but for those who still it went over their head as well, can you break it down for
Oh
us?
yeah, definitely. So I feel like all women that are let me say, I guess masters of their own destiny. It's kind of like if you're taking responsibility over your life, and you hustling the way you feel like you're supposed to be hustling, or living in your purpose, like you are a queen. It wasn't to separate myself from everybody else. It was nothing like that. It was just me solidifying my position, and this is who I believe that I am. But I do leave room for others to say that's who they believe that they are. Because I'm not knocking nobody's kingdom or queendom or whatever. It's kind of like you get to be you, but this is me. This is who I am, and I definitely consider myself to be a queen in hip hop. And if I haven't
You sure are.
received the accolades in order to gain certain levels of notoriety, I'm definitely on that path.
Like I said, you're way underrated. So yeah, in my opinion, you are a queen. Also, because of
Thank you.
your soul. I don't want to knock down your personality in the bars, but you have a really warm soul, and it's easy to connect with you. So
Thank you.
not only a queen on the bars, etc. You're also a queen in general. I just want to have that out there. But talking about positivity,
Yeah.
in let's say 2.5 minutes, maybe a bit more, we're gonna listen to another banger from your new project called
Oh,
Love Everlasting.
nice. Nice.
Um,
Thank you.
my I have a one-liner for that Love Everlasting. In my opinion, you question love
Hmm.
in your point of view.
Hmm.
Was I right with that?
Yes. Yes, I'm definitely questioning love if I understand it to its degree, because or till its fullest extent, because I've never really seen it, or I've only been able to see it on certain levels. Like I didn't grow up with my mother and father being together and seeing what that was like. And even when my stepmother came into the picture, I don't, as much as I would like to say, like I just don't feel like they liked each other in a certain kind of way. Like, so I never got to see, I don't know, the type of relationship that people make it seem like is love, whatever the fuck
Hmm.
that is. So I feel like I had to
Yeah.
learn that on my own, and this is definitely just a reflection of that.
Okay. So before we're gonna listen to it, do you still believe, or do you still have belief in love?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Because you see it in variations or in pockets of everything that surrounds you. So and but I do know and have learned to understand that it's really hard to acknowledge unless you acknowledge it in self first.
So what is your how do you say that? What's your love language?
What's
So
my love
affection,
language?
gifts,
Nah, not gifts. I don't care about that. I think it's more so like
words.
if you can love my love what I love, or I guess at least love me for me. I'm not perfect, you know, in the least bit. Uh, yeah, I will make mistakes, you know, but understand that I'm actually doing my best. And so I feel like if you could ride with me and try to have fun on this ride, like I could definitely, as long as you're ambitious and working towards something, I definitely, can love you just the same. I just don't like negativity around me, and I'm not too fond of lazy individuals.
That's beautifully said. With that being said, would you like to announce the next song? So
I
you.
All right, y'all. Everybody out there in the world, we about to check out one of my recent singles off my EP, Hi Cherelle, Love Everlasting.
Bang.
Rilla. So why you gotta go and do that, love, huh? Say why you gotta go and do that, do that, hey. Hey, why you gotta go and do that, love, huh? I want a love everlasting. Gon' do my body fantastic. Why the hell it always gotta end tragic?
Yes, sir. And that was already the first hour of the Moody with a Music stream, episode 7 of season 2, here on Warsaw Radio Live, the station where you show love, you get love. And for those who just tuned in live on the radio, you missed half of the conversation with a very dope and underrated guest who goes by the name of She Real. And damn, she is real. I don't want to butcher her personality as an artist because she comes with bars after bars and straight facts in that bars, but she's a very nice person to talk with, very nice vibe coming off of her, so a very great soul to have around. But with that being said, let's see what songs would you played the last 30 minutes, or at least the first hour, because we only played a couple songs in the last 10-15 minutes after our conversation, or part one of the conversation with today's guest. After that, after our first part of the conversation, we were listening to Love Everlasting, coming from our brand new project dropped in May called Hi Cherelle. And let me double check which song that is. I apologize for that. Love Everlasting is, if I'm not mistaken, the second song of the project, and it's a banger. It's also the second song which we listened to from our project. The first one was All Hail to the Queen, which is the outro. So you already have two great reasons to cop that project. It's worth listening to, and if you don't aren't familiar with her music, check out her earlier work as well, because on those she goes a bit harder, a bit more up tempo flow, but she has slowed it down for a brand new project. With that being said, after that song, we were listening to Kenny Chinks from the UK with Ambition, followed by yet another recommendation from today's guest, Jay the Wizard with Proud, which is a song for his grandma, or all the grandmas out there, but he wrote it for his. And last but not least, we were listening to Stuck by Hollywood Dice, another great recommendation by today's guest. Like I said, banger after banger. But with that being said, I'm gonna do the Dutch version, do a quick recap of what's been said in the conversation, and then we're gonna listen to more bangers, starting with three songs from the Netherlands. First up, Anis with For Mij, For Me, followed by a collaboration between Geechee, Jack, Blow, Jezza, and Spence, and Heck Motherfucker on Regular Day. Ja, met dat gezegd hebben, dat was dus alweer het eerste uur van de Moody Without Music stream, aflevering 7, waarin we She Real te gast hebben. En in het eerste gedeelte van het gesprek, mocht je niet goed zijn in het Engels, hadden we het over haar journey. Ze is al inmiddels jaren bezig, heeft inmiddels pas geleden haar 8e project gedropt, genaamd Hi Cherelle. Maar daarvoor hebben ze onder andere een trilogie project uitgebracht. En dan ga ik even spieken zodat ik geen BS aan het vertellen ben. Genaamd Real Hip Hop Still Exist. Een trilogie, dus 3 delen. Live, Love, Fear and Music. My Time is Coming. All About One. Standing on My Word. Dat was de vorige project. En nu dus Hi Cherelle. Wederom een aanrader om te checken op Spotify, Apple Music, it doesn't matter waar je naar checkt. Het is op alle grote platforms te verkrijgen. En ook via haar website. Dus check de website shereal.com als ik me niet vergis. Maar in het eerste gedeelte hadden we dus onder andere over haar project. Hoe lang ze al bezig is. We hadden het kort over een van haar tracks. Dear Tot Pocket. Waarop ik vroeg van hoe ze dacht over iemand met een OnlyFans account. Als het je significant other is, dus je partner. En dat was eigenlijk een heel eerlijk antwoord. En vervolgens hadden we het over muziek. Had ze een kleine uitleg over de uitleg of de backstory van een aantal tracks van het project waar we tot nu toe naartoe hebben geluisterd. En tot zover was het eigenlijk wel waar we het over hadden. Tijd vloog, tijd ging echt snel. Ik had een aantal vragen al voorbereid, ondanks dat ik dat normaal gesproken niet doe. But I'm fanboying tonight. Ik ben echt trots op dit gesprek. Dus tijd ging snel, maar in het tweede gedeelte zal ik nog een aantal vragen stellen die ook weer in de blogpost terug te vinden zijn. Maar met dat gezegd hebben, na Love Everlasting luisteren naar Kenny Chinks met Ambition, Jay the Wizard met Proud en daarna hebben we de Stock met Hollywood Dies. En over 20 seconden gaan we luisteren naar Anis met Voor Mij, Hak Motherfucker samen met Geechee, Jack, Blow, Jessa en Spence op Regular Day. En dan Champion Sounds van DeMar met Brian MG. Met dat gezegd hebben, stay tuned. It's your boy IBJ and you're listening to the Moody With Music stream here on Warsaw Radio Live. The station where you show love, you get love. Bang.
We komen van niets, nu pakken we shine. Dus dagen alleen, niemand zegt maar pijn. Geen eens zijn bezig, de dag al offline. Geen love voor politie, en nog niet voor mij. Oh, yeah, yeah. Geen love voor politie, en nog niet voor mij.
Do the quarantine, then bring it back like you got the warranty. Come in the care about him and what's her name? Lockdown, what a shame. Now we have it. Whoa, quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. Do the quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. Do the whoa, uptown you better do the downtown you better do the
And can't fly out, can't travel, no money now make the world pass.
En dat was alweer het, of tenminste, dat was alweer een segment van 30 minuten hier op Warsaw Radio Live. Het station waar je liefde geeft en je liefde krijgt. De Moody With Music stream, aflevering 7 van seizoen nummer 2. Shereal is vandaag onze gast van vandaag. En heeft ook een aantal, of eigenlijk alleen maar dope artiesten aangeraden om in de playlist te verwerken. En een aantal van deze artiesten kwamen wederom aan bod in het afgelopen half uur. Dus laten we een quick recap doen van de nummers die we hebben gespeeld, voordat ik snel overga naar onze gast van vandaag in Engels. We begonnen het tweede uur met Anis met Voor Mij, gevolgd met Hak Motherfuck, Regular Day waarop je samenwerkt met Geechee, Jack, Blow, Jessa en Spence. En daarna hadden we The Murray met The Champion Sound waarop je samenwerkt met Brian MG. En toen gingen we naar de UK met Fox, Taking a Piss, gevolgd door een aanrader van de gast van vanavond, Jay the Wizard, Too Legit to Quit, gevolgd door Slap met Medicina. Daarna hadden we Awesome van Rosemary en daarna gingen we wederom naar de UK, ditmaal voor Lady Leisure met Quarantine waarop ze samenwerkt met Busy Signal. En dat waren de nummers van het afgelopen half uur. Met dat gezegd hebben, ik ga hetzelfde doen in het Engels en daarna ga ik onze gast van vandaag erbij halen. Ik hoop je, of tenminste ik spreek je zo meteen nog heel kort, maar ik hoop je volgende week weer te zien voor een nieuwe aflevering. En morgen in de chat te zien voor een nieuwe aflevering van Hoe de LK Presents. En het begint om 1 uur 's nachts. Dus zondagnacht in principe. Dus zorg dat je erbij bent. Ik was je boy IBJ. Je luisterde naar de Moody with a Music Stream, aflevering 7, seizoen nummer 2. Op Warsource Radio Live, een station waar je liefde geeft en je liefde krijgt. Yes sir, with that being said, I'm gonna do this quickly because I want to get back into the second part of the conversation with today's guest. So let's do a quick recap of the songs which you played before we bring in today's guest back in for conversation part number 2. We started off the second hour with Anis, For Mij translated for me, followed by Hak Motherfuck, Regular Day, on which he teams up with Geechee, Jack, Blow, Jesja, and Spence. Then we had the Mother with the Champion sound, on which he taps in Brian MG. Then we went to the UK with Taking a Piss by Fox, followed by a recommendation of today's guest with Jay the Lizard, Too Legit to Quit, followed by Slup, Medicina. Then we had Awesome by Rosemary, and last but not least, we went to the UK for the second time this last 30 minutes with Lady Leshurr, Quarantine, on which he teams up with Busy Signal. With that being said, I'm gonna check if we can bring in the guests back and take it to part number 2 of the conversation. Sis, can you hear me? I should be you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
Yes, yes, there you are. There you are. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hey, hey.
And enjoy whatever you're eating. So I heard you were tuning in into the show. So I'm gonna start with the question: how did you like the music?
Oh man. Okay, they were one of the songs that it was like before a commercial. I couldn't understand what was being stated, but I loved the vibe of the song so much. I wanted to ask you what was being said, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to remember the dialogue because it was a language that I wasn't familiar with. But
Okay, so it has to be Dutch.
okay, but that was my favorite song out of all the songs that I heard because of the vibe.
Okay.
It just musically, um, I don't know if I can say anything other than I could feel that person's soul on the record.
Mhm.
Because if I can't understand the language, I can definitely understand the mood that is being created, and I felt like whatever it was, it had to be truth. It had to be honest. In order for me to actually connect with it in the way that I did, it didn't. It just felt right. And it didn't matter that I didn't understand the words. It felt like I know. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's just kind of like when you know, you know. You know.
Well, it sure does, and I'm glad that you like the Dutch vibes, even though you didn't understand the words what you should be saying. But still, you like the energy behind it, and that's
That's right.
still taken as a compliment towards the Dutch community. So thank you, because yeah, you're not just someone. So I'm glad with your approval of the Dutch. Well, I have to say hip hop industry, but the Dutch music hip hop industry is very mixed genre. So we take
Mm,
pieces from all kinds of genres and yeah,
okay.
make it our own.
Okay.
So it's very hard to call it an actual hip hop scene, but
Mm.
I like that you like the community. Let's keep it
No,
on that.
no, no, no.
Uh,
I definitely think hip hop is universal, you know. So I don't think there's one way to deliver hip hop. I think hip hop is the voice of the people, you know, whatever that is at the time, you know, and it was birthed in the streets, you know, by the young
True.
people. So I feel like however they choose to deliver that at any given time, it's still hip hop because it's a free expression. It's an honest, raw expression and depiction of what is taking place at that time. You know.
True, true. I can only agree with you. Um, but for so far other music from other artists, because today again it's all about you. I have to thank you for all the recommendations. I didn't hear one single song which you recommended to put in the playlist, which wasn't good. So
Oh,
thanks for
nice.
that.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep in touch with all of those artists, and they might even show up for an interview for themselves. But that's for something in the future.
Oh, beautiful.
Um, like I said offline, I think since the time flew by, we skipped through a lot of things. So I wanna do this as quick as possible to get back to your current
Okay,
project.
cool.
Um, but yeah, let me see. Who were your sources of inspiration back then, and what inspires you now?
Okay. Back then, like when back then,
When you started making music.
when I started making music. Uh, shit. Okay,
So after, and I'm talking about after your basketball adventure.
uh, okay. Um, okay. Because the first song that the first song I ever actually wrote was at like 9 years old. But in high school, I actually had a friend that sang, and um, at the time, I think I was probably listening to Jay-Z, uh, Kanye West, maybe 50 Cent. Probably just like a ton of R&B. I'm trying to think. But I think as I grew and maybe by a certain time, I think all of my inspirations still Jay-Z, Eminem, Outkast, Missy Elliott has always been a huge inspiration for me because I think she's one of the most creative uh, hip hop artists I've ever seen in my life.
She
Um,
sure is, and the crazy thing is that did you know when she performed at the Super Bowl that an entire generation was like, "Who's this new artist?" And I was like, "Seriously?"
I guess it's like that, like I watched this video earlier today where you had different people saying their top five from like T.I. to Rick Ross to Cool G Rap, um, to
So
Common.
what's
Like you had
yours?
all these different people saying who their top five were, right? And T.I. I think kind of said it best, like it really depends on what generation you're talking to that will give you an idea of where they are, and their influences and what their who their top five are, who they hell is like the best, So there's some people that you speak to and Rakim is in their top five, like, and there's nobody, no way if ands or buts about it, no way around that. And then there's some people I speak to and they don't even mention Rakim, like they'll
Hmm.
mention Big and Nas and Jay-Z, and there's some people I speak to and in their top five they have Wayne, like automatically is like their number one, and it really lets you know where they are, and not to take away anything from any of those people because they're all greats,
So
but
what was your top five?
okay. I'll give you my original top five and then my new school top five, right? So my
Okay,
original
fair
top
enough.
five it was Jay-Z, um, Eminem, Andre 3000, old Kanye West, like his first three albums, maybe four, and then Missy Elliott was in my top five, and she was like my only female in the top five because when I was a little kid, Missy was like the only hip hop artist that I knew that always made clean versions of her albums. So and then I couldn't always get my hands on because in my house it was a lot of like Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, or like Babyface 90s R&B, but then you would have like Ohio Players was my father's favorite band. My stepmother's favorite band was Earth, Wind and Fire. So it was a lot of funk and soul in my house, not hip hop.
Okay.
Like I got hip hop from my peers. So Missy Elliott was somebody that my pops could bring to me and be like, "Oh, she dropped the project," and like Missy was one of the first female rappers I ever heard that had a song with Eminem. Like she had songs with Redman. She had like Busta Rhymes doing interludes and shit like that. Like she was a monster. Like
Hmm.
people
And still is.
respected, yeah, and still is, and people respected her craft. Od, but it always kills me that I meet a lot of people that don't have females in their top five. But whatever, right? So new school would probably be Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, um, Meek Mill was in there for a very long time because I felt like he was the voice of the streets.
So
Who
he
was,
isn't anymore.
and I mean he is, but I guess I haven't given him the same time. I started to develop an appreciation for him for who he was as a person, because
Okay.
and not just his music. I started focusing on that more, especially after the Drake Meek Mill beef. Um, I
In
could
which he
say that
got killed.
I wasn't, yeah, I wasn't really listening to Meek as much, but as a person, I was fucking with him, especially now with the prison reform and things that he's been doing with Rock Nation and actually trying to help out individuals that have experienced experience things that he's experienced. I feel like he's a man and a businessman, and I respect that because there's a lot of people that start getting money and they only care about self. You know, I mean, you see more now with everything that's going on in the world that people are trying to show that they're about the people. But prior to this pandemic, that really wasn't the norm, you know, for everybody. You would see variations of some people that were like that, you know, but there was a lot of people that just focused on self, you know.
True.
So I appreciated him always being somebody that gave back, especially from Philadelphia. You would see him for like years, like even when he first hit and first got signed to MMG, like he would have coat drives, he was passing out food, he was passing
Hmm.
out shoes, like he's
Yeah, he
somebody
was
that
giving back.
he always did that. And I was like, damn, yo, because there's a ton of people that I always expected to do that that I didn't see do that, and he's somebody that's been doing that for years, you know. So I
Hmm.
love who he is as an individual. um is there anybody else, I guess, new school that's not? Because I said Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, Meek Mill. I feel like there's somebody I'm missing on that side. Oh, Big Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Big Sean is a monster. I think he doesn't receive enough credit for
I was just
um
about to say he's underrated as well. And
OD.
I don't say that I like all of his music, but there's a lot of music circulating, which is just underrated, and people don't see the power behind it and
Oh
the
yeah.
meaning behind it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But Big Sean lyrically, he's a fucking monster. He's a
He is.
monster. So I think
He
the only
is.
tape he ever put out that I wasn't really a fan of, like recently, was like the joint he did with Metro Boomin. Honestly, that wasn't my favorite, but like his Detroit mixtape, Hall of Fame, Dark Skies, Paradise, that joint, the one that he put out, the one of the last albums, fuck, that has, it has Amigos on it, it has The Dream on it as features, that because The Light is one of the singles.
I honestly
Sacrifice is a
can't tell you.
single. Oh, okay, all right, it's cool. But
We
nah,
focus
like
more on the, yeah, the
I res-
underground people.
I respect. No, that's beautiful because I think God Lee, when you're actually fighting to be heard, people like you make it possible for people that don't have a machine behind them or don't have a bunch of money behind them to where it's easier for them to touch like big, or not to downplay nothing, but it's just like there's some people that make it's easier for them to touch everybody because they
True.
have the financial backing, because that's really
Hmm.
what it is. That's
True.
really the
Money
only
talks.
separation is money, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like I appreciate people like you because it's really hard to be heard. And there's a lot of people that don't take the time, and they're clout chasers, and they only chase people that have a certain name or certain numbers because they want to look like they're doing something and not focused on talent or have a message or whatever, you know.
True. So how do you feel about the industry nowadays? Because there's a lot of phony shit out there who gets the appreciation which they maybe shouldn't get. But how you feel about it?
Yo, I used to focus on that shit crazy, and after a while, I realized how blessed I was. Because there are a lot of people that came before me, and not just hip hop, but all genres. There's a lot of artists that came before me that did not have the power of the internet. You know, like the
True.
internet has given artists like myself a certain level of freedom to be able to have more control and streaming services and all of that. Like you don't have to have a record label. I mean, I have my own record label, but even to be able to say that is a beautiful thing because there's a lot of people that would have never been heard if they didn't have certain people backing them. Um,
True.
and I was watching this documentary recently on Betty Davis, you know, who is a short for a short period of time was married to Miles Davis. Um,
Hmm.
but she had like this crazy like funk rockish sound and put out three extraordinary albums and had like top musicians in the working on her projects, but because they felt like it wasn't her time and the industry felt like they weren't ready for her message because they were more focused on a clean cut image like the Supremes and stuff like that. You know, like she didn't really get her opportunity. But if she was popping, if she was here today, like popping today, the internet would make it to where she would have an opportunity to be heard. So I'm trying not to even focus on the people that I feel like who gives a fuck if I believe somebody deserves a chance? Like it doesn't fucking matter. Like the fact that
True.
I have a chance to be heard is all that matters. And I just keep praying that word of mouth is as powerful as everybody has made me believe that it is. I mean, come on now. Word of mouth is the reason why I'm even being given the chance right now to speak to people in the Netherlands. You
True.
know,
All the way
because
through. Yeah. Facts.
somebody else put you on to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and who knows? That could lead to me doing a show in the Netherlands and being out there, some places I've never been. You know, like I'm talking to somebody halfway across the world. It's not even it's 5:48 p.m. over here. That's
Mm.
not what time it is over there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, it's almost midnight over here.
exactly. You know, and that's fucking beautiful. Shit
Mm.
like this, I just have to appreciate shit like this, and because this is this is a gift. This is a gift.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And I think that is, well, I think this pandemic made it more accessible. It was already there, the connection over internet all the way over to another part of the world. But I think this pandemic really brought people together
Yeah.
because we were all in it together. So yeah, I I think this is a good thing, and I hope we as a whole keep continue to be or communicating the way we are now and feeling the same way on a lot of things because um, I think if we have the protesting which is going on in the states right now before the pandemic, there wouldn't be the same protest all over the world, and now it was because we're also in the same shit with this pandemic, which
Mm-hmm.
for some reason made us more connected.
And it's
But
a beautiful thing though because it was unexpected, but it was almost like at the same time we all got to focus on our similarities. You know, like we all got
true,
to see how much we have in common and what is actually more important. Family, that's health. That's like it's not right now isn't about who you are and what you have, in the least bit, because there's so many things that have been put on pause. There's so many things that have come to a stop that even the most fortunate of fortunate are being shown that you are just as human as I am, like
true.
so I appreciate it. I appreciate the time that all of us have been given to reflect on self and deal with things or see the world in a different way because I've been watching my community even just appreciate being outdoors. Like I think we take this
Hmm.
world for granted, like
True.
and it's crazy how it took for something like this for us to really be able to step outside of ourselves and also look at self, you know
Yeah, and realize what we actually
that's right.
have. That it isn't as bad as we normally portray
That's right.
things.
And the things that we do need to work on, it takes us actually having being able to communicate and connect. It takes for us to be able to understand the power of our voices as a unison and not just as
Hmm.
an individual to actually make a change.
I'm with you on that.
Mm.
I'm with you on that. But before we're gonna run out of time again,
Oh, snap. Okay.
let's get back to your. No, no, no. I'm not knocking on anything because I love our
All
conversation.
right.
But it's still more of more about your new project, Hi Cherelle. Let me see because we already played two songs and we have one to go, which is "Beautiful Day," and
Okay.
I think it's also a good segment to what we're talking about.
Hell yeah.
So that's why I thought, well, let's bring it in now. So
Okay.
what's
You
I
you
thought, yeah,
smart. You smart.
uh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So for those who didn't cop your project yet, shame on them. So didn't check haven't heard the song yet. What's the song about?
Okay, so beautiful day. It's really supposed to be nostalgic in a sense, because it's supposed to take you back to the day, at least over here, like in certain neighborhoods where the people are like cracking over open fire hydrants to like play in the water and and actually being outside and not just being on your phone, and just
Yeah.
appreciating everybody that's within your community, and like living in different black communities myself. I love seeing us appreciating and spending time with us, laughing with us, partying with us, you know, because I think I didn't have a song from my generation that I felt like we were just celebrating each other. So this was my attempt at creating something like that for us that was a summertime vibe where we could barbecue too with the family, stuff like that. But yeah, so beautiful day. It's available on all streaming platforms, major streaming platforms all over the world, on the Hi Cherelle EP. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, we still got 2 minutes, so before we go actually out, where can people follow you or
Oh,
find
yes.
your music, etc.?
If you're looking for me, it's one word spelled exactly how it sounds. She Real Talk. She Real Talk. That's my YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything rolling to one. SheRealTalk.com. Hi Cherelle EP is in stores right now. You just look up She Real on your streaming platforms. And I think if you're into New York, a New York sound, a summertime sound, you're going to get the bars, the flow, the delivery concepts. And Boger, he's from the Hell's Kitchen part of Germany. That is the producer for the album. Like I think he
Dope.
killed it, you know. So yeah.
Close by, yeah. Well, there's a neighbor country, so I didn't even know that. So, but that makes it even doper for me. It's, yeah, brings it more home.
Yeah.
Well, I still got a minute left, and I want to give you all the platform which I can give you. So
Okay.
give the people a reason to check out and even cop your new project.
Okay, so this project, I think, I don't think enough women are appreciated for their pen, you know, and because it's become more normal for a lot of women to have people writing for them, or even men nowadays have people writing for them. This is something that actually came from me. Like I've never spit a rhyme that somebody else wrote for me, you know. So I definitely am somebody who bears their soul. I'm definitely somebody that will talk to you about my family, about my friends, about my life, you know. And
Keeping it real.
yeah, basically, and also, you know, giving you a message, and at the same time keeping it cool. Like it's not like I'm preaching to you all day. Like it's definitely chill vibes. No one song sounds the same, and you're gonna be able to rock with it from start to finish, you know. And I appreciate the fact that it's short and to the point, you know. Like I didn't try to like oversaturate the project with a bunch of songs, you know. Like it just sounds like New York, and I love that because I've been missing that because there's a lot of people that try to sound like Atlanta right now, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not who I am, you know. That's not what I grew up on. So I definitely tried to keep it to what I know, you know.
Well, with that being said, let's check out yet another banger from your new project, Hi Cherelle, called Beautiful Day. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me today. It was an honor. It was a pleasure talking to you. And keep me posted of new updates, etc. Because from now on, not only here, but also on the station, you got a home.
Oh, thank you, man. That means so much to me. Thank you so much for having me. It means more than you know, and I can't wait to the day that we can actually meet in person, you know.
Me too. Me too. Well, here's Beautiful Day by our guest of today, She Real. Enjoy, and I will see you next time. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.
Such a beautiful day, yeah. It's such a beautiful day, yeah. It's such a beautiful day, yeah. It's such a beautiful day in black neighborhoods. It's such a beautiful day to be black, It's such a beautiful day in black neighborhoods. It's such a beautiful day to be black, It's such a beautiful day, yeah. 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 It's such a beautiful day in black neighborhoods. It's such a beautiful day to be black, It's such a beautiful day in black neighborhoods. It's such a beautiful day to be black, yeah. It's time to talk your shit, youngin'. Break out the cars, break out the stars, break out the pretty women with natural